Welcome to Money Making Sense, the show that talks about all things money. I'm your host, Heather Kelly, and joining me, I'm very honored today, is Mr. Scott Hamilton, figure skater extraordinaire. So you were one of the first people I saw win a gold medal at the Olympics when I was old enough to, understand what the Olympics were.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
But I've enjoyed watching you ever since.
Thank you
welcome
very much.
to the show.
Yeah, this is kind of cool. I love this.
So what I wanted to discuss with you today is sort of the cost of being an athlete or an Olympian. I mean, a lot of people, even if they've got the best talent in the world, not everybody actually makes it to the Olympics, but they spend the same amount of money as the people who do. So how much can you get yourself into debt, and how do you support yourself? Because I plan to be on the 2030 curling team.
There you
I
go.
am gonna make it as a curler.
Why wait that long?
Okay, 2022.
It's a relatively simple game, It's like you just got to get good at it, It's like anything else. And I wouldn't imagine that curling would really be extraordinarily expensive to get into.
It is one of the least expensive sports. So I did find that out. So if we go to one of my, that's skiing. Let's see here. We've got, somewhere in here we have curling.
There it is.
In here. So, the training sessions, they're relatively inexpensive. But there's a lot of places you have to go to a private club to join, and that's up to $300 a year, which again, not that expensive compared to a lot of the other winter sports that are out there. But if you're making $25,000, $30,000 a year and you're struggling to pay the rent and food, but you're like, I'm going to be this Olympic curler, how do you get money to support your gaming habit?
There's in figure skating, I know that there are funds available that you apply for. There are different sponsorships that are out there. Like the woman that sponsored me is no longer with us, but she left behind an estate that basically funds a sponsorship program where people can apply, and based on need, they can get training money, expenses. And then there's U.S. Figure Skating as a memorial fund where you can apply, or you get to certain levels in competition. I don't think it's done on need as much as it should be. It's done more on accomplishment, where you get to a certain level and you qualify for higher levels of funding.
Right. Well, so if we go to let's say it's the U.S. Figure Skating Association, and I've come in 11th. Now, I am the 11th best skater in the entire United States who entered that competition. But I was in the top 3, and nor did I even make it in, if you're watching broadcast television, they only broadcast the last 2 groups.
They're broadcasting everybody now. At the Olympics, all 30 participants made television, and nationals are getting pretty deep too, because NBC has 4 different networks now where they're able to put NBCSN, and they have all the Olympic Channel and different channels where they're able to utilize and put more people on television. But it's a journey. It's someone's livelihood. It's something that brings them great joy. And for skating especially, I think that it gives young people a real honest understanding of what it means to process failure and be strengthened through it. It's not anything gives you that. So what's the value of that? What's the value of falling down tens of thousands of times and getting up tens of thousands of times, and then when things come your way, you're built for that. It's now you're diagnosed with an illness, or you lose a family member, or these things that can be devastating. I think when you're used to processing failure, I think it's a training ground for life in general. So it's not just all about sport. We can look at it as just, we're going to 4-wall this sport, and we're going to say that everything that happens right now is got a value, and it's monetized this way, and then you can. But I don't know if you can necessarily always measure sport financially for risk and reward. I think it's more than that.
Okay, so since you're on that it's not all monetary. Let's say I am in the top. I finally made it as the curling champion. I've made it. So I'm going to go to the Olympics, but I am training all the time. I leave work and I go right to the rink and I, practice all the things I need to do. Well, my boyfriend is going, hey, what about me? Mm-hmm. So what's the cost in relationships, not parental and child necessarily or siblings, but that dating, or even if you're already married and your spouse isn't into your sport necessarily, and it's like, hun, I need you to help with the kids. And they're like, sorry, I'm not going to do it for the next 4 months.
Well, I think it just comes down to, when you set up your life and you're training for something specific, or you have specific goals, whether they be athletic, academic, just personal, whatever they are. I do think that there are ways of scheduling your lives so that you have periods where this is just this time for this and this time for that. If we all just kind of live our lives in a reactionary way, like I can't get on a path to anything because there's all these things pulling me off my path, then it's going to be really hard to succeed. The people that I know that have been most successful are the ones that say, here's the deal. Here's my training period. It's right here. Nothing really disturbs that. There are going to be events, like you said, somebody gets sick or something that pull you off that, but here's my path. I need to do X in order to get to the next level. And if you just, if you show up every day and you're consistent and you're strong in your training, then you're able to utilize that time, monetize that time in a way that, if it costs you $10 for a freestyle session and you're on it the second it starts and you're off it the second it ends, and you're really good in that time, then you get great value for your money. But if you go on and you talk to your friends for a long time, if you just sort of meander around and then, you sort of kind of do pieces of your routine, you don't do the whole thing, and then it's just it doesn't matter if you're there or not. So, I just wrote a book on this.
Okay, so let's talk about the book.
No, but it's just you're getting into all that. It's just, I think there's this dedication and a practice of basically saying, here's what I want to accomplish and here's what it's going to take to do that. And then you budget your time appropriately. If it's just getting on when you can, or and then it comes in fits and spurts and there's no continuity to the training, then it's really hard to measure your progress or to plan for your next advancement. It's way better just to say, here it is. Like a friend of a friend he wants to be a drummer in Nashville. Really competitive market, right?
Yeah.
So instead of having to go into studio time and everything else, what he did was he has a drum kit. He's a drummer, okay? And he rented a storage area, which is pretty cheap.
Right.
Right. And he just goes into the storage area and he packages his drums 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. And if people go, we're going out to dinner right after work, he goes, that's my drumming time. I'll see you on the weekend. So, you have to make, really solid decisions on, here's my dedicated time in order to get this thing done. I know how to pay for it. I know how to, to budget for it, but it's also my time to bang it out and to really see and feel my advancement.
Okay. We have to take a small little break. Mm-hmm. When we come back, I actually want to go into a little bit more about, you just said, I know how much it costs. Well, what if some people actually don't know what they're getting into?
Yeah, okay.
So we'll talk a little bit about that.
Great.
For Facebook fans, just stay tuned. You can keep watching behind the scenes. But again, with Money Making Sense with Scott Hamilton, and we'll be right back with the cost of being an Olympian.